I mean, I didn't think it was going to hit number 5. So, I mean,
I don't think anyone did.
I didn't think it was going to do nearly as well as it did. So, who knows? The power of Cruise compels you. So, let's jump into news bits. This week's smaller stories that don't get their full, own stories, but we don't want to forget about them. We still want to talk about them. Not a lot, because there's not a lot going on this week, but we do have a few little things to talk about real quick. And the first one will be a bit of video game news, which there's not much of that either, but it's a little something I threw in here for my video game enthusiasts out there, and that would be Xbox. Just
Xbox.
As a company, it's not really a company, it's Microsoft, I guess, promises to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation for years beyond the existing deal, according to reports. What this is pretty much saying, and I think this is somewhat a response. It's not a response because according to them, there was a letter sent to Sony from Microsoft saying, hey, we are going to, at the beginning of the year, by the way, I think it's January, February, saying, we plan on keeping Call of Duty with you guys. Now, they're vague. They just say Call of Duty, by the way. I still stick with that. They have not said what Call of Duty. They just say Call of Duty. But we plan on keeping Call of Duty on your platform beyond the existing deal. How far beyond? Who knows? But beyond the existing deal that they have. So, PlayStation fans should, rejoice. Regardless of what way this thing goes, you'll still be able to get Call of Duty in some form, somehow, for at least the somewhat foreseeable future. Now, some people are saying that this is a response to the whole CMA looking into them that I talked about on Saturday. I don't, since this was sent out at the beginning of the year, I think that's why they're talking about it right now, is to say, hey, look, we've committed to doing this. I don't know if I take them at their word that this was sent over. I would think that if they were lying about it, Sony would be the first one to jump up and be like, bullshit, they didn't do that. So I'm assuming that they did send this thing out, send them some type of good faith letter saying, hey guys, we're not wanting to tank you. We're going to keep it out there. What do you, Nick, do you think that, I guess, the question that hasn't been asked is this. I guess first I'll ask the question, what do you think? Do you think this is bullshit? Do you think that why they put this out there? But also, after whatever your answer is to that, do you think they should have to? Do you think they should? Do you think this is good business? Or do you think they should be like, hey, fuck you, it's ours now, if they win and if they do end up acquiring Activision?
Hey, Microsoft's the one paying $70+ billion for it, so they should be able to do what the hell they want with it. If PlayStation was that, excited for Call of Duty, then they should have bought it themselves. I don't care about Call of Duty, so whatever system it's on. But it's a big enough game that at Microsoft will make a lot of money if they sell it on PlayStation. Why not? This whole the bigger problem is just the monopoly Microsoft might start having after a while. If they keep buying properties, but we talked about that with Embracer. But I don't know, just it's like you said, it's a news bit. It's like a non-story. It's like,
it's not a big deal.
It feels like there's a lot of money being thrown around, a lot of dicks in the closet that are trying to come out. It's just, I don't care.
Lots of dicks coming out. Well, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, Call of Duty doesn't do it for me anymore. Nothing against it. It's just not my cup of tea anymore. So I don't care really either way. But when you talk about this, you would think that all Microsoft was buying was Call of Duty because that's all motherfuckers talk about. But Activision, Blizzard, and King, they actually own a whole bunch of properties. It's not just Call of Duty. And Call of Duty is huge now. Call of Duty's been huge for a long time. But, I mean, there's nothing saying that it will be forever. I mean, Halo, look at Halo. It was like King Dick for a long time, and now, not so much, It could fall off the map. I mean, I don't see it happening anytime real soon, but who's to say where Call of Duty will be in another 10 years? It might not be the juggernaut it is now. Maybe it'll be bigger. Yeah. I don't know. But either way, if you're a PlayStation fan, regardless of what way this whole deal goes, if one of your major concerns was, oh no, Call of Duty, you're going to get it at least for a while. Okay, so after that, let's move into a little bit of movie. Well, not movie. This is more show, series news, but it's also just some shade, as the young hip kids say, being thrown, or shit being thrown away around. And we're talking about Elon Musk real quick and Jeff Bezos. two titans of industry, if you will, two really rich fucking guys. So,
yes
Elon Musk apparently has said, he tweeted, I believe it was, that, and this is in regards to the new Rings of Power show, that Tolkien is turning in his grave. He also went on to say, almost every male character on the show so far is a coward, a jerk, or both. Only Galadriel is brave, smart, and nice. After watching the first 2 episodes, which I assume is what he's referring to, I mean, I don't know. I don't necessarily think that every one of them is a coward or a jerk, but I don't find really any of them to be particularly compelling. I will say that. Galadriel definitely is the main character, even though Elrond is supposed to be a main character as well. He's kinda, sorta. But as I mentioned in my review, I think a big part of that is because I already have a connection to those 2 characters because of the the books and all the previous works with these characters in them. I can't really say if it's because the show's doing a good job, because Galadriel in this show is not really what she's done on her own. If I didn't have that connection already, she would probably be about as forgettable as everybody else, all the new characters. So I'm kind of, I don't know. Would he be turning in his grave? At this point, I don't know, but I will say that in my opinion, as I said in my review, I don't feel like the show's really, so far, in the first 2 episodes, it hasn't really done anything. It's not going anywhere. Looks great, but it's just kind of, it's kind of middle of the road. Have you watched any more of it as of yet, Nick? And what's your opinion about Elon's take on the Rings of Power? Even though you've seen a little bit, but not like much of the show yet.
Yeah, no, Elon Musk is a troll, so he's gonna troll. He's troll. So whatever he does, whatever he says, you gotta take it with a grain of salt.
They have history with going back and forth about shit, apparently.
No.
Him and Jeff Bezos, I guess.
My biggest complaint about Power of the Ring is I just don't care about... I mean, I shouldn't say I don't care. I watched the first 15 minutes of it, and I was really tired, so I didn't want to, like, kind of fall asleep because I heard it's really slow. But the thing that kind of... the thing that kind of surprises me about it is it's like one of the most beautiful looking shows, but it doesn't feel like Lord of the Rings. It really doesn't. Like, Lord of the Rings has a feel. Even the books have a feel and a aura about them, and this doesn't feel like Lord of the Rings, just not yet. I mean, yeah, there's Saurons in the show, I saw that, but do you feel the same way? Do you feel it's like a show that...
Yeah, that's what I mentioned in my review, is that it looks like Lord of the Rings. It sounds like Lord of the Rings. There's lots of Lord of the Rings stuff in it, or Tolkien stuff rather. But it doesn't feel like Lord of the Rings or Tolkien, the Tolkien verse, Middle Earth, and all that. It just feels, like it's an imitation, a really pretty imitation, but it feels like. It just feels like that. It feels like a fucking imitation. It doesn't feel like the real thing. It's missing that magic.
Feels like
that the Peter Jackson film
expensive imitation.
Yeah, it is missing, in my opinion, that magic. So far, I've only seen 2 episodes. It's missing that magic that the Peter Jackson films and that the books had. It seems like an imitation, and I want to like it. I see in the chat, Ryan says, "I'm ready to like it. I'm bored so far. I'm ready to like it." That is perfect sentiment. I'm kind of bored so far. I really want to like. You don't have to do much. Just put forth a little bit more effort. And it seems like they're like they're wanting to go here, but they're kind of just barely going that way. Like, no, just move over a little bit. That and the dialogue's not very good. The dialogue seems like it's just off. It seems like somebody's writing Lord of the Rings inspired dialogue, which is what it is, but it's not supposed to seem that way. So, I mean, whether Tolkien will be turning in his grave or not, I don't know. That seems
I don't think.
much,
honestly, I think Tolkien, he's a smart dude. Same thing with the dude that wrote C.S. Lewis. They're smart people. They lived in a different era. You can't. It's like Walt Disney. You can't tell me that they'd be turning in their graves because you don't know. It's like Rod Serling would probably be. Would he be turning in his grave today? Probably, because of the way the world is. No, I'm kidding. No, in all honesty, like, I hate that word, they'd be turning in their graves, because you don't know what they would think of today outside of, like, politics. You don't know what they're thinking about their properties being turned. I mean, Tolkien may have hated the Peter Jackson trilogy. You don't know, and I get tired of people like Elon Musk going, "Oh, he'd be turning in his grave." Who the fuck knows what Tolkien would have said?
I think a big part of this is, like you said, I think he's just trolling Bezos because I don't know what the history is, but as I was reading this, I saw that apparently they have a history of going back and forth about stuff. Whether it's kind of like a ha-ha jovial thing or they legit are talking shit about each other, I don't know. But that's like some rich folks drama right there. I don't...
It sounds like Elon Musk needs to go back to like early 1900s and, try to prevent Tolkien from making the Lord of the Rings or some shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't weigh in on this. These people have way too much money for me to have a say so on this. This is some rich people back and forth.
Yeah.
But anyway, Elon is, if you're a fan of Elon, which I mean, I'm a fan of some of his stuff. He's got very divisive takes. I'll say that much. But he is apparently so far not a fan of the Rings of Power, which I mean, I can't say that I'm a fan of it as of yet. I don't hate it. I want it to be more. I'm like, you got everything you need. Just do the thing. Not quite there yet, but who knows? Maybe episode 3 will come along and we'll be like, there it is. We'll see. I think it comes out Friday or whatever. We'll find out. Okay, so speaking of something that has been out for a while and is really doing its thing and doing it right, Top Gun Maverick is now the 5th highest grossing film ever in North America. It just surpassed Black Panther with passing $700.4 million. I don't have in front of me what the other 4 top grossing films are. I could probably guess what they are.
I can tell you.
And I'm curious as to how far away it is. Is it going to overtake any of them? I don't know, because it's still making fucking money. I can't believe that. And we were talking a little bit before the show that Spider-Man No Way Home was re-released with a slightly like an extended version this weekend as well. And the media was running with it saying, oh yeah, Spider-Man is #1 at the box office. It's taking the weekend. But then by the time the weekend it was over, I guess they like blew their load a little early, because by the time Monday rolled around, Top Gun Maverick takes the weekend and beats out Spider-Man No Way Home. And I was like, holy shit, that movie is still making lots of fucking money. And it was a slow Memorial Day weekend. But not Memorial Day, Labor Day weekend. And it was a lot of tickets were $3 each because of the whole why AMC, I guess, was doing that. But you said you had a list of who was number 1, 2, 3, 4?
Yeah. So I'll go 10 to 1. So number 10, The Avengers, $623 million. Jurassic World, $653. Titanic, $659. Avengers: Infinity War, $678. Black Panther, $700. Top Gun Maverick at $701, which nobody fucking ever thought. I mean, the insanity that is Top Gun Maverick, which I love. I actually bought, so it's
me too.
A great movie.
Still making money too. Crazy.
Yeah. Avatar, $760, so I don't think it'll hit that. Spider-Man No Way Home, $811. Avengers Endgame, $858, and of course The Force Awakens, $936 million.
Yeah, that's definitely I forgot. Force Awakens is #1 in America. That's a big jump too. That's a whole nother $100 million on top of Endgame. Damn. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna hit #1. I mean, I didn't think it was gonna hit #5. So I mean,
I don't think anyone did.
I didn't think it was gonna do nearly as well as it did. So who knows? I mean, the power of Cruise compels you. But I mean, we'll see what happens. But I think #5 is probably where it's gonna land. But you never know, especially now that it's at home and everything. And I think you said the next one was like $60 million ahead of it.
Yeah, that's Avengers, I think.
Yeah, I don't see it making $60 million more dollars. But who knows? We'll see. If it does, we'll talk about it here at some point. Okay, so on to, I think, the only other bit of video game news we have for the day, which is just a little bit. Not really much news here, but it was something that was mentioned that is close to my heart. And that is that the Booty, that would be Matt Booty of Xbox fame. And no, some may say, you're a huge Xbox fan. No, that's just the only fucking news that was going on. There was nothing, movie, entertainment, game, or anything. But Xbox talked about some things. Matt Booty, which is one of the executives at Xbox division of Microsoft, teased the new Fable. which we've known about that there was a new Fable coming because they put out like a little CGI trailer like 2 years ago. But we haven't heard anything since then. People have been like, oh, it's going to show up at this show, and it'll show up at that show. Well, it's still not showing up, but, and this does come off, by the way, I want to say, off the back of some news recently that some people have been saying, oh, there's lots of trouble with some of Microsoft's studios that they have, and somebody had mentioned Fable. And that's all speculation. This is Matt Booty, and granted, he works for the company, so of course he's going to say good things. He said everything is looking great. It's looking really good, but the company, or the developer, does not want to release anything because they are not turn 10. Playground Games is making it. All they've made up to this point is open world racing games, i.e. Forza Horizon. Very good ones, but car games, not action role-playing games. So everybody was like, that's an odd choice to take over Fable. But hey, whatever. Weirder things, I guess, have happened. But apparently they are very self-conscious of that. And they don't want to release anything about this game beyond what they already have until they know they've got what they want where they want it. I can respect that. I mean, I want something to come out because I love that series, but I get it. Hey, release it when it's ready, or release stuff about it when it's ready. But he says every time he goes over there and looks at what they've got going on, because that's what he does. I think he's the man. I don't know. He's like under Phil Spencer. But every time he goes over to Playground Games, they've got such awesome stuff. He's like, it's ready. This is something that needs to be shown to the world. And they're like, no, not yet. So apparently, if you believe Matt Booty, Fable is in good hands and it's looking great. And it's so great that he just feels as if it should have already been shown to us. So hopefully, me, myself, personally, what that means is that soon-ish, within this year, we will actually get a whole lot of information about Fable and get to see it, because I love that series. The first one and the second one, amazing. The third one, I didn't play as much. It was okay-ish, but what's your relationship with Fable, Nick? Are you just kind of like, I don't give a fuck about this. Can we move on to the next thing?
No. Honestly, I think Forza Horizon, that series, I'm not a big fan of the like Forza Motorsports, just because it's like hardcore Gran Turismo thing.
Sim racer.
Yeah. But I love like Forza Horizon because it feels like you would go into a arcade and play like Cruising in USA or something like that.
Yeah, it feels like you're going on just a fun drive.
Yeah. It has like a lot of cool modes.
Professional race.
But here's how I look at it. If they say it's not finished, it's not finished. It's like, look at what Guerrilla Games did with like going from I think I can't remember if they did Resistance or Killzone.
I think they went into. I've got both of them up there. I can look at the boxes, but it was one of the. I think it was Killzone, because they had that crazy trailer for the PlayStation 3 right before it came out that everybody was like, "This looks amazing!" And the game came out, we're like, "This does not look amazing."
But they went over and did Horizon, and it's the same thing with like Naughty Dog. They went and did Ratchet and Clank, then went straight over to Uncharted. So you just gotta. On that note, I also want
to say Naughty Dog's first game is a game I have on the 3DO called Way of the Warrior. It's a fighting game, Mortal Kombat wannabe fighting game. Fucking abysmal.
Oh yeah,
they're a great developer now. Holy shit!
Their early games are horrible.
It is horrible. That's where they started, so they've come a long way.
Yeah, yes they have. But no, in all honesty, like you just got to give the studio time, because they need to develop like a whole new system for their game. I mean, if they're going as ambitious as they are with what I hear about Fable, yeah, I'm all about it. I like the first Fable game. I think the whole like good versus bad side mechanics was awesome, and then it fell off with like Fable 2, and then that Connect game was fucking awesome.
Fable 2 was awesome.
Awful.
Fable 3 was.
I wasn't a big fan of Fable 2, but I liked the first one.
Oh, okay. I loved it. 3 was more. I think most people had issues with 3 because it veered a little bit. Yeah, that Connect game was. I don't know what that was. I don't really consider that. It's just the first 3.
Yeah, I don't know what fucking what's his face was thinking with that, but yeah, just give it time. Like I said, I don't. They've been working on it for a few years now, but I don't. They're working on like one of the best racing sim games of all time, and they just give them time. That's how I look at it. I'll play it when it comes out.
Exactly. Look at Cyberpunk 2077. Which we will actually. I forgot we do have another video game news today, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But look at that. That's what happens when you release stuff too early. Even before the game's out, they release stuff about that game years ago, like in 2014. People been talking about that shit since 2014, and it finally came out in, what, 2020? I mean, that's what happens, and then we see how that went. So, yeah, you guys take your time, make the best game you can, and come out with a good game, because I'll wait. There's plenty of other things to play. Okay, one more thing in our news bits, and this is just, I guess the best way I could put this little bit is this just a good dude praising a good dude. I mean, it's the one dude playing another dude who's playing another dude. You know, I mean, this is very heartwarming. I don't have a picture of it, but I suggest everybody look it up. I'm talking about Brendan Fraser. Fraser, I think is how you pronounce it.
Yeah, Fraser.
It's always been a thing, but he is in a new movie called The Whale. Darren Aronofsky. I always butcher that guy's name. Darren's movie, and it's being lauded as just a great flick. It just premiered at TIFF, or no, Venice Film Festival, and it got a 7-minute standing ovation. And at first it was Darren Aronofsky who was walking around just yay, 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 and you see the video. There's lots of videos of it, and he goes over after about a minute or two of that. 7 fucking minutes of standing ovation. I wouldn't know what to do. I'd feel so awkward. That's a long time. But anyway, that's kind of a Venice Film Festival thing, though. Is like, how long was the standing ovation? So,
well, they had that "Don't Worry, Darling" thing had like a 14-minute standing ovation.
Yeah,
so,
and I haven't heard.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. But this one got 7 minutes. After a couple of minutes, Aronofsky goes over and because you notice in the video, I don't know if it's everybody, but in this crowd of people right in this one spot, Brendan Fraser is the only one who's not standing up. Everybody else is standing up. He's clapping and he's just like doing this. You kind of get the feeling he's just kind of trying to stay out of it. He goes and he stands him up.
Very shy.
Yeah, he stands him up and puts him on, and then like the crowd fucking erupted when he stood up, and they really started. And the guy, like, legit, it wasn't even like that, like, single tear kind of thing like an actor would do. He starts ugly crying. He's just like, he bawls, and he's like, you know, because he's had a really tough time of it. If you look into everything that's happened to the guy, he's had like health issues, he's had some issues with maybe being blacklisted. Just he's had a tough time of it. He's started out on top and really dove. He's on his way back up. Anyway, after this video surfaced and everybody was, you know, it became viral, and everybody's like, oh, look at Brendan Fraser, he's coming back, and though this is a great video, it's very heartwarming and all this, The Rock, of all people, which it'll make sense in a minute, put out a tweet or an Instagram or something like that, and he said, man, this makes me so happy to see this beautiful ovation for Brendan. He supported me coming into his Mummy Returns franchise for my first ever role, which kicked off my Hollywood career. Rooting for all your success, brother, and congrats to my bud, Darren Aronofsky. And you had a picture of him and all that. I just thought that was really cool. I mean, is it news? Maybe not. I think it's just really cool because I know, Nick, you talked about, as far as like his acting credentials, at least The Rock is not your favorite. But I really like The Rock. I understand what his movies are, and I enjoy them for what they are. But him as a guy, he just seems like a pretty cool guy. He's a pretty. I think kind of like buff Keanu Reeves. I mean, you know, he's just a really down to earth kind of. I mean, he's a bit larger than life, but he just seems like a pretty good dude. And Brendan Fraser seems like it too, and he seems like somebody who I think deserves another shot, and just, you know, what he's getting now. And it's just really neat to see good people praising other good people instead of everybody sucking the dick of a bunch of assholes in Hollywood, which there are plenty of them. I mean, that's my take.
I mean, no, to be fairly honest, Dwayne Johnson, Rock, whatever you want to call him, he knows where he comes from. He knows he needed help. I mean, he's like anybody in Hollywood, you know, at some point he needed a boost in his career. And unfortunately, he didn't have the best of CGI when that happened, but he, of course, was in The Mummy Returns as the Scorpion King,
legendary
which is the worst CGI. But it was the start of his career, you know, it's the start of like something that would become meteoric. And I think Brendan Fraser gets a lot of crap because he was in a lot of crap in the 90s. I mean, Encino Man, which I enjoy, Encino Man, and of course, you know, Blast from the Past and all these, like, Bedazzled. He was just a guy that had a lot of bad choices. And
George of the Jungle.
Hey, George of the Jungle, great movie. No, I'm just,
well, actually, George of the Jungle, I think, was his, maybe not his last. He did have, like you were saying, he did have a bit of a fall there. It was either the late 90s or early 2000s. After the
Tomb
Mummy
of the
Returns.
Emperor King or
Yeah.
nonsense, but yeah, no. I think The Rock knows that, you know, some people are important to talk about. It's just nice to see that he could be the biggest star in the world and still give praise to a guy that, you know, probably did help him. Probably offered, you know, he probably got a big help from Brendan Fraser. So yeah,
I mean, Brendan Fraser didn't make the movie, but he was definitely at that point in time he was a draw. He was the draw for the movie. So I'm sure he had, you know, I bet if Brendan Fraser at that time, when The Mummy Returns was being made, if he had said no, he probably could have made it to where he couldn't be there. Whether he's the one who got him in there or not, I don't know. But he did. Like, he whether he gave him his big break or not, he was a part of that. And I think that's cool that he's humble enough to remember that and be like, hey, man, yeah, this guy, he's a good guy, and he helped me out. So I would check out. I urge everybody to go check out. They're easy to find. The Venice. The movie's called The Whale. Just look up Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
If you search that name, you're gonna find these videos, and they are kind of. So we need some good shit in the world sometimes. And I watched that and I was like, yeah, dude, that's just really fucking cool, man. To see this guy just like really, he deserves a win, and I was happy to see that. But
yeah.
all right, so that's all we've got on the news bits today. All the little stories that don't. Maybe not big enough for their own big story, but they're, you know, we don't want to forget about them. We want to talk about them. If there's something we missed, let us know. If there's something you wish we had talked about, just put it in the comments below. And also down there, let us know what you think about COD. Do you think that COD is going to stay on PlayStation for very long if Microsoft goes through with this acquisition? Or is this kind of a, you know, there's some type of like loophole in there? Elon Musk's comments about Tolkien, Top Gun Maverick being the #1 fucking movie in the world forever. The booty teasing some fables, and of course, two good dudes talking about each other. Let us know in the comments below.